Hi, I'm Dan, also known as GlenmoDan. You have reached the cocktail portion of this week's Glenmorangie Flavor Journey. Now, the idea behind the flavor journey is that in each mark of Glenmorangie, there are loads and loads of different flavor elements that make up the total flavor combination that is original, Lasanta, Quintaruban, Nectar d'Or, and beyond. Now, when I am experiencing Glenmorangie Original, one of the things that jumps out at me is a citrus note, particularly lemon. So in this week's flavor journey, what we're going to do is to look at lemon's synergistic relationship with basil. Now, if you've seen the posts that I did on Instagram regarding to this week's flavor journey, you'll see that I created a pasta dish that will go perfectly with the cocktail I'm going to create now. So this cocktail is a bit of a riff on a double eagle, incorporating a bit of basil. It's a bit of a riff on a recipe that I found that itself was a riff on another version of the double eagle. Found it at Meredith Steele created this at steelhousekitchen.com. So here's how it goes. We're going to start by muddling together some fresh basil and fresh squeezed lemon juice. I'm looking for 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice first and foremost in the small part of my Boston shaker tin. Here we go. Here's my jigger, and I've got a little line in there that shows me 3/4 of an ounce. I'm going to fill into that line. There we are. That's 3/4 of an ounce. That's going to go into the small side of the tin. Next is going to be the fresh basil leaves. Here we go, fresh basil leaves. Now, what we're going to do while we're muddling this is to show you the guts of this drink. In essence, what we're looking for here is a combination of Aperol and Glenmorangie Original with essences of lemon, basil, and a little bit of grapefruit. So when we're constructing this drink, here's how it's going to look. I'm going to take this little bit of basil and the 3/4 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. I'm just going to press them together a bit, trying to express some of those oils out of the fresh basil leaves. Kind of give that maybe 30 seconds or so. I don't have to pulverize them. I don't want to make minced basil out of this. I just want to make sure that when you start getting the basil essence out of the shaker, you're pretty well done. So that's looking pretty good. Now that that's muddled together, the next thing I want to do is to add the other key ingredients into this drink. Now I'm looking for an ounce of Aperol. Here goes my ounce of Aperol. Now, this would certainly work with Campari, but with Aperol, you've got just a little bit more of a citrus underpinning. Not quite as aggressively earthy as Campari might be, but it would certainly work if that's the direction that you want to go. My next ingredient is going to be 2 ounces of Glenmorangie Original. That's what this looks like. Glenmorangie Original, everyone's favorite. So here comes the Glenmorangie Original. That's going to be 2 ounces in the 2-ounce side of my jigger. Here we go. That's 2 ounces. Next thing I want to do is to add the simple syrup. Now, when you're thinking about your sour or your volatile ingredients like lemon juice and your sweet ingredients like simple syrup or Grand Marnier or whatever it is that you are enjoying, those things should be in somewhat of a balance. So these are, we're going to go 3/4 of an ounce of each. The lemon juice is already in there from the muddling step, and the 3/4 ounce of simple syrup is going in to counteract or counterbalance the acidity of the fresh squeezed lemon juice. So here goes my simple syrup. This is just 1-to-1 sugar and water, boiled until it combines, and then that'll save in your fridge for a good month. So they call it simple for a reason. It is in fact simple. So now I want to shake this over ice. In the large part of my tin, I'm going to add some ice. Here we go. A few good chunks of ice in there. That ought to do it. Maybe one more. Now this shaking element, I'm shaking this because there is some cloudy ingredient. Juice is the cloudy ingredient. If there were no cloudy ingredients, I would stir this drink. But because there are cloudy ingredients, I'm going to shake it. And because there are live basil leaves and stuff in there, you'll see what I'll do next. It's called fine straining. So the small side of the shaker tin with all the ingredients in it, that's going to go onto the ice. Give that a tap and a good solid 10-count shake. I want to make sure that I get the proper temperature and dilution in the shaker as I'm shaking. And that's 10. So I want to get this apart. What we've created in there is a little bit of a vacuum, a fairly strong vacuum as it turns out. There we go. So that is now separated. Because it's a low pressure center in there, the two ends of the shaker have sucked themselves together, and you've got to break that seal. Now I'm going to go into my up glass. This is served up, not on the rocks, it's served up. So I'm going to fine strain this drink. Use this fine strainer in between, and I'm going to show you how that's going to work on the camera. Fine straining this cocktail is going to look a bit like this. And the reason I want to do that is to make sure that there aren't any chunks of basil that end up in my cocktail. So now, shake that out a little bit. And I've created a little bit of a garnish out of basil and a bit of grapefruit peel. That's going to get dropped right into that cocktail as so. And there's your finished cocktail, a riff on a double eagle that incorporates Glenmorangie Original, Aperol, lemon juice, simple syrup, and a basil and grapefruit garnish. I hope you enjoy the drink, and check out my Instagram post on Glenmorangie Flavor Journey, Lemon and Basil. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks for joining me.